I was talking to Perry Davis the other night, and I told Perry that Roger had asked me to introduce Mark Quinn. And Perry said, "Do you know how dangerous that is?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're between Mark Quinn and a microphone. That's true danger." I wanted to share some thoughts as I walked into the room this evening. I've got to tell you, to be in this room with this group of people, to hear Stan and the testimonials, to see Howard, to see all of you, the warriors, Dan's Diamonds, the survivors, the thrivers, the drivers, it's an honor. And it's really with humility that I walked into this room. Because people sometimes just sit and others play the game. You're playing the game. You're answering the call. You answer that question that Roger always asks: if not me, then who? You're the who. And I couldn't help, when I walked in the room tonight, to think of Phil. Last year, at this event, Phil Zabisky and I walked out of the room. Kathy and my wife Kathy and Phil's wife Kathy were walking side by side, and I looked at Phil and I said, "Phil, it's a really stupid question, by the way." I said, "Phil, what does this night mean to you?" And he stopped and he looked at me and he said, "Hope." This night to me is all about hope. I might not beat this disease, but I'll give it my all. I'll give everything I've got. I'll fight until the last breath. And I'll answer Dr. Von Hoff's call. I'll do every clinical trial. I'll do everything I can to fight for the people in that room. That's leadership. That's a hero. That's a great man. So Phil, may God rest your soul, and Kathy, thank you for being here tonight. And I'm humbled to be in a room with a man, well, put it this way, I'm almost 60 years old, which is amazing for me to even say. I still think I'm 12. Kathy thinks I act like I'm 10. But in my life, I will never meet a person that will do more for medical science, and I don't believe any of you will. Sock's been gone a long time. We're in the room with greatness. We're in the room, Mark, this isn't about you. We're in the room with Dr. Von Hoff and Urquhart and his team, and people that give it their all every day. They put it on the line, Dan. And it's an honor and a privilege to be in this room with all of you. So thank you. In May of 2012, I was actually on Capitol Hill testifying in front of a Senate subcommittee, and it impressed me that John McCain was in the Senate chambers. He was not on the committee. And I walked out of the room, and I've got to tell you, I was nervous, shaking a little bit. Senator McCain came up to me, and he said, "You know what? Appreciate you being here. Not every American would come to Washington and say what's on their mind. Thank you for articulating your thoughts," which just blew me away. And we took a couple steps, and I said, "Senator McCain," I said, "next week, actually, I'm going to be in Phoenix. I'm going to go to TGen. and I'm going to meet Dr. Trent and Dr. Von Hoff. And John McCain, with those beady, steely eyes, stopped me. And he said, you know, one of the biggest accomplishments of my life is to facilitate Jeff Trent getting TGen to the state of Arizona. And this is a true American hero. And he was thinking about TGen. So today, I was reading some testimonials, some memoirs of Senator McCain, and I came across a quote, and it's staggering to me. It says, "Success, wealth, and celebrity, gained and kept for private interest, are small things, but sacrifice for a cause greater than self-interest, and you invest your life with the eminence of that cause, and your self-respect is assured." That's staggering. That's profound. And I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that's Mark Quinn. Mark Quinn is absolutely selfless. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be around Mark. Kathy and I walked through TGen, and it was a staggering couple days to meet with greatness. And I know it left a lasting impression on all four of us. And Mark didn't sit on the bench. He plays the game. He plays the game hard. He cares. He gets it. And it's an honor to be associated with you, Mark. So please welcome, and nobody's ever been more deserving of being the Honorary Chair, and Steve and I were a couple of them, and it's Mark Quinn. So Mark, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I can make it. So a lot to say, but I'm going to keep it short because we're at the end of the night. I do get choked up over this stuff because it's a big deal. And Karl's right, we're not phoning it in, we're coming in and we're being present, so I can't wait. I have to tell you a quick story though about Karl before I get going. And so apparently the CFO from Leggett is stepping down, right? So he stepped down a couple weeks ago. No. Yeah, so, no, hear me out. So I said to Karl, I sent him an email and I copied Perry Davis, my old boss. And I said, hey, things are going great with Spink, but that's a big job. And I just want to throw my hat in the ring. I just want to put my name in the ring. And I said, and talk to Perry if you need any kind of endorsement, because I work for him. And Karl said, Mark, I don't need Perry's endorsement, in an email right back to me. He said, you got the job. And I'm like, that's how it should be, right there. I shouldn't have to interview. He knows who I am. And then Perry sends an email and he says, I quit. But he said, give me a couple hours because I got to get to the bank. And then Karl fires back an email. He said, don't worry, Perry. I only hired him so I could fire him. Quinn, you're fired. How hard could Chief Fun Officer really be, though? I mean, how hard could it be? Not hard. I'm grateful to Karl. Thank you. I just want to say, Derek, he always gives me a hard time. I don't know where Derek is, but he always says, you're my guy, Quinn, and I think he's my guy. Him and Judd come every year, and they're really incredible, and they bring it, and I just love those guys. Of course, to Dr. Von Hoff, and I'll be talking about you in a minute, but God bless you and your wife, Ann, for all that you do. Roger, holy cow, man, for all that you do too. So I just want to talk about what we did with the Magowitz thing. And what's so interesting about this, you guys, is it's not It's not an issue, I mean, it's an issue of money, but you know what it is? It's an issue of awareness, right? So you heard Stan talking about it, and he said, I go through my phone, and I find people, and I reach out to them personally. This is an issue of awareness. So think about if we together were able to make more people aware. Think about this room times 10. Think about 10,000 people that got to know something about pancreatic cancer and about what that means. What about 20,000 people? And every year we build on that because, like Stan said, you add 17 people every single time. So I got to thinking about that, and I decided that I even tried to talk Roger out of having me involved. The slide's up, there we go. I even tried to talk Roger out of having me involved because I wasn't part of some large company like Sorta or Leggett or Matt firm, but he thought I would bring something different to this, and I really hope that I have, and I'm gonna let you be the judge here in a second. But so we created a campaign, and the whole goal was how do we, the collective we, create awareness around something like this? Because I really think if we share our hearts with people and we connect them to this issue, like how many, just curious, how many people have not been to this event before? Show of hands. So what do you think? Will you come back? Pretty amazing, isn't it? Like it's a great, great event. So we wanted to increase awareness and we wanted to let people know what was going on. And so because I didn't have that big company, I decided to do what you do in the social media marketing space, and you connect people. And so I reached out to a group of friends that I have in this industry, and I said, will you help me? And I asked. And they said, yeah. And so this is a group of people that came together, and this was the advisory board, and together, this is what we did. And I have to point out a couple things. First of all, Mark Kinsley, who is my podcast partner, one of the auctioneers. Without him, I couldn't have done any of this and he was on the video with me, so thank you, Mark. And when I told him what I was asked to do, he immediately said, yeah, we'll do this together for sure. And so he helped me put all, and the Leggett Platt creative team was amazing. And so together we kind of tackled it. And then we got on the phone with everyone and we kind of told them what we were doing, and everybody was in. And it was pretty incredible. And so, by the way, while I'm at it, my mom and dad are here from Houston, and my wife. I love you guys. Thank you for being part of tonight. Thank you. So anyway, we got this group together, and we said, we want to raise awareness. We want to create some assets for you. Will you help us push that out? And you know what? They did. And this is what we did. We went into the digital world, and we gave them this video. We gave them graphics and assets to push out and to share. And then we included some other things. And you know what we did? Instead of tens of thousands of people, we connected to 165,000 people. But that was because of a group effort. And so just think about this, though. If we started there, and you guys with social media, part of it is it's a shareable thing. And so when you looked at that video from us, and it said, what are your 4 things? When you start asking people that question, some pretty amazing things happen. Did you stop to ask yourself that question? I did. Had a big impact on me. I discovered that I spend a lot of time with my son because of basketball, but I don't spend enough time with my daughter, right? So that's a hard realization, but I do now. And the stuff that we got in people's threads, I was reading Phil Sherman's right before I came up here. Be more present with your family, right? Be more grateful for the things that are in your life. Be a better magician. I think he's pretty damn good personally, but when you ask, and then you get people to share and put it on other people's seats, that's what grows it. And that's what we did. And so with the effort of everyone, we had people taking those t-shirts that you see outside, Leggett & Platt, Sinomax, Pure Care, they brought them in. And you know what happened? You got people at a table, and you know what happens when you get people at a table and they're all telling you what their 4 things are? It's connection. It's connection. And that's what happened, and that's what happened here. So we had shirts, we had social media posts. And so far, because of things like this, and because of Roger and events like this, and because we asked, this organization has raised over $10 million to help fight pancreatic cancer. So I just want to wrap up with a couple thoughts for you. So one of them is this. I want you to think about other people. I want you to think about empathy. So one of the reasons that we did the what would you do thing is because when you put yourself into someone else's shoes, when you think about just for a minute, what if it was me? If you see someone on the street that is living a hard life, you've heard the quote that be kind always to everyone because you have no idea what they're going through. Empathy connects us to people. It connects us to each other. And if we just think for a second, or ask people in the social media space for a second, what if it was you? Where's your heart with that? When we ask them, makes a bigger impact, don't you think? So empathy, think about others, put yourself in their shoes, and not just with this. I'm talking about at work. I'm talking about in your family, politically, everything. Be empathetic, connect to people. And then the second one is you. I want you to think about you. So if you, when I would do speaking in the past, I would ask people to put a list together. And the list was, if you had a list on the left-hand side of your page and you said, what's the most important stuff in your life? I just want you to take a second and think about that for me, okay? What are the most important things in your life? Say 3 things. Okay, and then on the other side of the page, you were to write down where you spend your time today. Think about your week. Think about your month. Do they make sense? Are you spending the time on the things that matter the most? So when you make that list of 4 things, live your life. Right? Why wait? Live your life. Take that list and make sure that you're living that list out. And by the way, I'm not talking about running with the bulls necessarily. I'm talking about the time with your daughter. Spending some time serving other people. We are here to serve each other. Benefit to others. Donate some time. Get involved in something like this. And you're here. So that was the other one. So how do you feel? And then the last one, I think, is, and I think about this one a lot because we have a tendency to feel sorry for ourselves with things. Like we have something go bad at work, or the car breaks down, or something happens that didn't really fall the way we wanted it to fall. I just want you to do me a huge favor, and I want you to think back to Stan and to every other Dan's Diamond here, and then I want you to be inspired by those people. I want you to live this moment over. I want you to think about Johnny coming in from South Africa to be part of our event. I want you to feel that. Because when you feel that, that's what drives action. And so to end, I just want to say this. When Dr. Von Hoff and I were talking about, the 6 months, you have 6 months to live, and that's tough, right? That's a kind of a negative thing to talk about. But our approach to that was really to educate people on how tough this can be. And I hear survivors talk about the horrible situation and experience they have when they go to some of these other doctors. And because of the nature of it, what they get told, and how hard that is. And so I want us to really believe that what we're doing here isn't about the problem. That's an education piece. And if we want to do the right thing and drive a result, you have to frame it. You have to name it. But there's hope. That's what this is. If you think about what Dr. Von Hoff and T-Gen's doing and the money that goes into this whole thing, where that goes, you ask somebody in this room what a day is worth to them who has been diagnosed with that. You ask them what that week was like. You ask them what their ability to walk their child down the aisle for a wedding, what did that mean? Because that's what we're talking about. Hope. And that's why we're here, to provide that hope in time, in life. So to you, and to everyone at TGen, to everyone here, I'm grateful and I'm humble. And I want us all to think about the real inspiration, the people who've made the trip, stands, and who are living that. Be empathetic. Live your life. Serve people. Thank you. Comment for you. This is something that Roger and I thought would be kind of cool. And so when you have a touchstone or something to remind you of something, so I know we've got like a bunch of crap on our desk and things at home, but I really do hope that you take this home and you put it somewhere. And the why wait and the heart and the purple color reminds you about these people who are living that life and that struggle, but who are, I want it to remind you too, to live your life. Why wait, right? Thanks, Roger. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Don't go so far.
Okay. All right. All right.
One quick second, and then I have a couple of closing remarks. Mark wasn't getting out of here so easy, and Mark was right. When I asked Mark to do this, he was like, no, this is really above my pay grade. And I said, Mark, some of us are getting older, sort of like Karl, and we need to bring in some younger faces and new energy, and I just wanted Mark to have something to go home with, just to remember this event and all the Dan's Diamonds and all the friends that he met. So thank you, Mark.
Love you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.